Welcome to the first edition of Plodcast. Discover, experience and connect to the people and work of the Metropolitan Police Service in Kingston, Merton, Richmond and Wandsworth.
Good afternoon, Claire.
Hello.
hello. Of course you would have to open our first podcast with hello.
Of course, I'm setting the standard. Hello. Please comment if you know where that actual line comes from. I'll be very interested to find out.
I'm sure there's going to be a few people that will know where that very successful. What is it? Is it a mini-series? It's not a mini-series, is it? What is it?
Yeah, probably. Well, it's not a mini-series. It's a reality show.
10 years, yeah. Reality show,
yeah. Well, here we are, Dan.
Mm-hmm. Our inaugural, I pronounced it right.
Well done.
Podcast,
which you have named
inventively Plodcast.
Yes.
Yep. So, from what I understand, we are the first in the Met to have a podcast.
We are the first in the Met to have a podcast, and we've decided to name it Plodcast. Yes. And the police have been on other people's podcasts, but this is the first one that's purely done by the Met here. Mm-hmm. And we are on the South West BCU, and the South West BCU stands for Basic Command Unit, and it covers Merton, Richmond, Wandsworth and Kingston.
Mm-hmm, it does. And I suppose the show you're going to hear today is not what we usually will be doing.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk a bit about, I suppose, some sort of housekeeping in a way, frequency, when you can hear us, how to contact us, what you're likely to hear in the future.
Well, should we get that out of the way and then we'll crack on with who we are. Mm-hmm. So like Dan has just said, this is the first Plodcast. It is just an introduction to what we hope will be a successful series. And the frequency, I'm going to say, is probably about once a month, depending on our workflow, because we are still police officers as our main roles. So therefore, we need to be able to make sure we can fit this in amongst that. This one is just going to be introductions about the frequency of the Plodcast, a little bit about ourselves, and what you should expect to hear in the future, which will be things around crime prevention, current affairs that are going on within the Metropolitan Police area, and just fly on the wall talking about maybe whatever we like. It's our podcast, so we can do what we want.
Driven by people that are listening. So how can people contact us? So
there are a couple of ways you can contact us. Please write feedback in the current stream that you are ever listening to. Please make a comment in that, because we will keep an eye on those. But also you can email us, and the way that the shows are driven in the future will be based on what the people that are listening say. So if they want to hear something about how can I protect my house from being burgled, we'll get somebody in to maybe speak about some crime prevention or locks and things like that, around to online fraud cases and all things like that. So it will be driven with the stuff that you want to hear. So please make your comments in the feedback. But you can also email into us at swplodcast@met.police.uk. So if you email us, we'll pick them up and we will tailor the each edition around what you want to hear. Mm-hmm. So it's all by them.
And platforms, Claire, what platforms are we on? I know some of them are not that popular, but we've cast our net wide and far. It's Claire's frantically looking this up. I know it's Spotify, Apple, Overcast, I think.
Yes.
That's it. I don't know anymore. Carry on.
So the platforms that you should be listening to at the moment are Spotify, Apple Podcast, Breaker, Castbox, Google Podcast, Overcast, which it isn't today, Pocket Cast and Radio Public.
I must admit, Claire, I've not heard of half of those.
Well, but I'm hoping that some of the listeners who regularly use those channels are listening to our podcast or via those channels.
Good.
So yeah, this is going to be the first one. We haven't uploaded it before. This is the first recording, just to give us a taste of what people should expect.
And this is we're at Twickenham Police Station today. This is a working police station. So if you hear sirens, we're not getting raided. It's just the response teams work out of here. So, and the office that we use and record this is right next to the gate where the vehicles come screaming out of. So, if you hear that, then that's what it is.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. So we should crack on with some intros. Now we've done the housekeeping. I think, Dan, why don't you start first with telling the listeners about yourself?
Hello, I'm Dan. I feel like one of those, those groups when you sort of start a new job and you have to stand up and introduce yourself. Daniel, Dan, and a police officer here on the South West BCU, formerly at Scotland Yard, and even before that, at various stations around the Met, Westminster mainly. And this will be my, and let me think, 16th, maybe 17th year in the job. Does that cover enough, Claire?
I think it does, yeah. And where's been the majority of your policing experience?
Definitely Westminster. I spent maybe 12 years there.
Okay.
Which is a long time.
Which is where we met.
Yeah, we met on response team.
We did.
Back in, what year was it?
Well, I started there in 2004.
2004, so
I think you joined 2006.
Well, I transferred from a different borough when we used to have boroughs. Now we sort of have clusters now, don't we?
We do, yeah.
Under the new system. So yeah, it must have been probably 2005, I would say.
Okay. And the majority of your work has been in policing, is in emergency response policing? Or frontline?
Definitely frontline. So it's been a combination of response teams, dipped my toe into safer neighbourhood, like neighbourhood policing. That really wasn't my thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know, it just didn't resonate with me. Yep. Some people love it. I sort of tried it and it just wasn't my thing, really. Mm-hmm. CID, I worked in major crimes there, so I dealt with loads of complex frauds, sexual offences, things around protection, lots of harassment cases and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
And training, street duties. So that is when new recruits leave their training facility and then they arrive on their elected borough, and they get taken out onto the streets with experienced police officers. So I did that on and off for a couple of years as well, and that was good fun. I'll always look back on those times as being some of the best times so far, definitely.
Oh, okay.
And now I find myself here in Twickenham. Yeah. Even though I live miles away, I still come here and do my bit.
Exactly, do our bit.
It's interesting because I knew that we was going to be speaking about this today, and I can't really remember working with you on response teams.
I can remember a couple of shifts.
I can't remember anything. I can vaguely remember us being out of a van, probably collecting somebody that's been arrested from a shop or something, but I can't remember any sort of incidents apart from, which I'm sure I'll talk about in the future, the famous sudden death.
The famous sudden death, yeah. But even then you wasn't with me. I joined you to bring someone there.
Yeah, you was assisting with that, but yeah.
But I think it's because we've got a similar amount of service that they didn't put us together because they wanted us to go out with newer people. So
I think that's why.
I think so, yeah. So to have us two together was a bit of a waste.
Well, you've been knocking around for years as well, Claire.
I have. So this year is my 20th anniversary in the police. So yeah, so August this year I would have joined 20 years ago, those gates of Hendon. And my journey has been always in frontline policing. I never joined the job to have any ambitions to go to CID. That wasn't for me. I'd like doing investigations, but to have all that stuff going on in your mind and all those complex cases wasn't something I wanted to be involved in. I like driving around fast. I like the adrenaline of not knowing what you're going to. The call comes in, reading the CAD, so the information that we have, which we can talk about in another time, what CAD means, but not knowing what you're going to read and having to read between the lines about one person saying one thing. And I love that adrenaline going to those calls.
Because you're an advanced driver, aren't you?
Not advanced, response driver.
Sorry, yeah, response driver.
So a response driver. Yes, and so nothing beats getting in the car, driving around fast, getting to those people. And the mixed bag of responses when you get there. The have you called police and they're pleased to see you, and then other people who haven't called police and somebody else has called, and then having you there just makes the situation a hell of a lot worse. Some colleagues go into a call now. There we go. Wonder what they're on their way to. But yeah, that's where I find that's where my happy place is on response team. But like you, I did a bit of coaching, so street duties, coach patrol, and also went into our training school, Marlow House, which is where the new recruits go. So for the past year, I've been doing them on their foundation training, so the new recruits of becoming a police officer.
Where's Marlow House?
In Kent.
Kent, okay.
Yeah, so we've got 2 training facilities, one at Hendon, which everyone knows, and then we have one out in Kent, which they're there doing their basic training. But that's all changing now, and our new recruitment process is coming in, which we can talk about in another series.
Because a lot of people think that Hendon has just been razed and there's nothing there anymore. That's not true.
No, it's still there. Yes, yeah, we still have a building there. It is very much a college, high school type building. It's not the old-fashioned one that you've seen on the television still. That's long gone. That was destroyed for a movie, I think.
Okay.
I think it was, yeah.
So those rotten old tower blocks that we lived in, all gone.
All gone, yeah.
Oh,
and then I used to also teach officer safety training as well, which I really enjoyed.
Which is
handcuffing, doing all the baton strikes, open-handed techniques, self-defense, basically. So you wouldn't just necessarily use these techniques when you're on duty. You can use them outside to protect yourself and others.
Someone once told me what that system is based on, and I wish that I could remember this conversation, because I think it was based on Israeli fighting technique.
We went around the world, I think, taking people's different techniques as to what was working and what wasn't, and to put a package together.
If anybody knows, let us know, because that'd be interesting to know.
Yeah.
Begins with K, I think.
Yeah, we could probably find out.
Find that out.
Yeah, so that's me. So we've got quite a lot of experience. I still love policing. I still go out there and do my bit. But I'm getting older now, so.
Well, 20 years, you do get a medal.
I think I do get a medal, don't you?
Yeah. Medal,
yeah. I got, I think you would have got Queen's Jubilee.
Yes.
Yes, I got the Queen's Jubilee, and then I'll get my 20 years. Nice.
So you've been, how many commendations have you received over the years?
I have 2.
2 commendations. Well, I know you at least have 1, because
we got one together.
One together.
Yeah, I think I got one other one. Yeah.
And where do you put them? Because I don't know where to put mine. I'm just saying I have more than a few.
Mine are in my toilet, along with my attestation. So whenever someone goes to the toilet, they can sit and read, and it's always a conversation starter. Oh, you're a police officer, are you? Oh, yes. And people like reading it, don't they? It interests people to read it.
I don't think I'd like that anything in my area.
Yeah.
Toilet.
So how many have you got then?
I think I've got around 5.
Oh.
I think, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can only remember 2 of them. One that you and I dealt with.
Yep.
Which was, I want to think from memory that he's a soldier. He wasn't in uniform at the time, but I think he was from the armed services.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I do remember that, because I remember looking in his pocket and I found his ID. I can't remember which of the services it was, but this was outside Charing Cross Police Station,
yeah, on the pavement.
On the pavement. Well, he was actually in the gutter between the parked cars and the walkway, the pavement. And I don't know how the call came out.
Well, no, I think it was a colleague who came across him and asked for more units outside.
Oh,
and me and you ran outside to help him.
And I could not find any sort of sign of life.
No, I know.
No breathing, no nothing. And he was he a young lad? I think he was.
Yeah, he wasn't old.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we saved his life because we formed CPR. Someone ran in and got the defib, and then we got a commendation for it because we saved his life.
To remember that. Yeah, it's nice to sort of go back and sort of look at them, but I don't think I'd want to put them in the toilet either, Claire. Well, that might cure you.
They're up on display in my toilet, or they're in a box in your house somewhere. I don't know. But I'm glad you've actually meant commendations, because this morning we were at a commendation ceremony, weren't we? Taking some pictures of people that are currently receiving their commendations. And we actually have got 3 specials who actually received commendations.
So these are commendations from our commander.
Our commander, yes. There's a couple of levels of commendations. So you have a local commendation where your good work is recognised locally by your commander, and then I believe you have a commissioner's commendation, don't you, which is a higher level, which a lot of the officers got for the 7/7 bombings. But these are a local commendation ceremonies where the commander recognises that you've done some good work, and we had 3 specials receive a commendation each for dealing with a suicide, which isn't normally a thing that the specials get involved in. It's normally the regulars, because specials are volunteers and they're not normally responding to these sorts of calls. But the specials decided to take this call on their way back to the police station and dealt with a suicide. A gentleman was found in his house, and they had very good support with the family and dealt with it in a very, very professional manner. And the commander wanted to say, well done, thank you, and thank them for their time. Yeah. So that was an interesting one this morning.
From what I understand, and I was at the ceremony as well, that they played a really supportive role with this person's family. And that is tough because, you and I, we've dealt with many of those over the years. And you never quite can guess what the response will be from families.
Of course, yeah.
And you have to do it, of course, you have to do it in such a delicate way, even a diplomatic way, and with a lot of sensitivity. But sometimes the response from the people that you're dealing with, the people that then, that are there for the aftermath of what's happened, that can be really challenging. And from what I understand, the specials did gold standard job.
Yeah,
on that.
Did incredibly well. Yeah, because it's a lot of it's normally a family member that finds their loved one in that situation. So there will be links in this podcast, I believe, how to receive help if you're suffering and you're listening to this podcast. You need to seek help at every opportunity. People are there to help you, so please seek advice. And the officers have also been given the opportunity to get help as well if they need it, because it is a stressful situation, and we have a very good HR here that can look after you and support services so that you don't have to just deal with it on your own and then leave. Because they are specials, they tend to not do day after day after day, so it could be 2 or 3 weeks before they come back again. So therefore, their support services are there for everyone that works for the Met Police.
Who else was on the list?
So we also had the commander that dealt with the shooting of the sergeant,
Matt Ratana.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He took control of the whole situation, was on duty for that. And that is a big thing because so many people were involved in that. And I've never heard of anything like that in my career that's happened. It's definitely one of a kind. So he's received a commendation as well for his good work and a supportive role that he did in pulling everything together, making sure everyone's welfare was looked after for not only the family involved, the officers involved, the people in custody as well that dealt with it all, and brought everyone together, making sure that the correct procedures are followed. So he's received one of those for them. And also we had that lovely gentleman who had done 40 years, was it this year?
40 years service.
Tomorrow. Well, it would have been tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, 40 years service. I mean, when he was standing there having his picture taken, firstly I thought, wow, you're still standing. I'm worn out now. And yet he has done 40 years service. 40 years. Started in 81.
81.
And he was pulled out of training school at Hendon to deal with the Brixton riots.
I know, wow.
What an initiation, baptism that must have been.
Exactly. We all thought when I was at Hendon, we had the 9/11, and we thought that we were going to have to be pulled out to go and do reassurance patrols. But it never happened because obviously it didn't happen in this country, and I think it might have done had something else happened in this country. But yeah, it's very rare to be pulled out of training school. He must have been near the end of his service, near the end of training to be pulled out. But yeah, that was interesting to see him 40 years. I'm not too sure if I will be here in 20 years, having done 40 years.
I think there's going to be a couple of things. You're going to be here.
Still doing this.
Cockroaches and probably Cher will still be.
Oh, I hope Cher's still around.
I'm sure you're going to do more service than you probably got planned. But no, it was a nice ceremony, wasn't it?
It was a very nice ceremony.
And it was all COVID sort of secure, which
COVID
took
compliant,
kind of sort of dimmed the event a little bit, because normally you'd have like sort of friends and families there, and
it's a shame.
Like sandwiches and all that sort of stuff. So we had to sort of dispense with all that. But I don't think it's going to be too long before we can start going back to the full shebang that we used to do.
Exactly, and I know the commander is quite keen to recognise good work soon after the event. Otherwise, when it's happened a couple of months ago,
you forget.
Yeah, so therefore she's quite keen to do it. And officers have got the choice to either come in and have a ceremony or just to come and see her in her office to have a well done. It's entirely up to them.
Well, we've been referring to her as her and she, but it's she does have a name.
She is. And I think what we'll try and do, actually, we'll try and get her in for our first proper podcast.
We're talking about our borough commander, Elizabeth Chappell, who likes to be called Liz.
Yes, she's well known. There's a line that she uses
all the
because
time.
People that are in the police will know there is a rank structure within the police, starting at PC and working your way up through promotion. And she is a chief superintendent, so she is a commander and should be known, anything above the rank of sergeant, as Ma'am. But whenever you call her Ma'am, she says, don't call me Ma'am, call me Liz.
Just call me Liz.
Just call me Liz. And that is one of her taglines that she has.
LIS.
So, yeah, just
not LIZ.
Call me Liz.
Just call me Liz.
And we'll see when she comes on. We'll start calling her Ma'am and see if she uses the line.
Yeah, her face will redden and she'll kick us under the table.
Yes. So, hopefully we'll get her in for the next podcast. But what is that in front of you down there? I can see something.
It is my list. And the reason I have a list is because things pop into my head over the course of a week. Some useful, most of them not. And I thought to myself, well, if I keep a list of a few things, at least we've got something to sort of anchor ourselves.
That is a really good idea.
So in no particular order, I'm just going to pick one now. Queen's Gambit.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
Hang on. Have you seen all of it?
Yes.
Okay.
So should we warn, if we're going to talk about it,
spoiler
alert.
Yeah.
So for those of you that haven't seen The Queen's Gambit, which is on Netflix, we will be talking about it. So I'd like you to continue listening, but if you don't want to know what happens, then don't talk about it. But you mentioned this, I think, a week ago about the fact you'd seen it, and I just thought, I'll give it a go. I'm not really into chess, but you said you don't really need to be. Oh my God, you don't have to be at all. It is absolutely sensationally written and acted, and I think it's a storyline and everything is really good. Yeah.
Well, I've recommended a few things to you and over the years, and you've always sort of liked them.
Yes.
So I'm kind of sort of getting to know what you like. But I thought, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to invest 7 hours when I could be watching something I really know that I will like.
Yeah.
I don't know chess. I don't know nothing about it. I still don't, even after watching 7 episodes. Certainly can't play it. But my word, wasn't it good?
Yeah. Did you say, is it a true story?
No, it was, I thought it was initially. And then I thought, no, this is, I would have known about this somehow. It would have come out at some point. So I looked up the author, and it's based on a book written some time ago. And it's a one-off book. So unless they're going to take some real artistic license, don't expect series 2.
Oh, okay.
But so it's
based on a book, but not a true story.
Not a true story. Not remote. Well, saying that, all the chess games that you see, they are all...
they're all real moves from real people, yeah.
Real strategies that have been used by chess players.
Yeah.
I think they got one of the... I think he used to be an old chess player from what was the Soviet Union. Kasparov, someone like that. Rings a bell.
Maybe.
They got him as a consultant.
Wow.
To check. And all the chess community have said that it was pretty much perfect.
Well, I did like it, and I get where the name initially came from.
Queen's Gambit, yeah.
When she was learning. But I don't think that move or that strategy had such a big impact on that whole thing, did it?
It was mentioned
a few times,
but
the ending had nothing to do with the actual move, and I thought that was what it was going to be to do with it, but it wasn't.
I've got a theory about the ending.
Go ahead.
So you think that she went back to America?
Well, I think the ending leaves it very open. So when you watch something and you leave it on a cliffhanger, so therefore you know there's going to be another series. I think in this case it was left so that there either can be, and I'll be happy if there is, but if there isn't one, I'll still be happy that it ended on the note it ended. But I think she stayed where she stayed for a short while, and then by short I mean a few hours
in the Soviet Union.
Yeah, and then I think she went back to America to live her life. I don't know who with, though. Who would she have lived it with? She may have, I don't know, left on her own with some cats, maybe.
Cleo? Her former friend.
Oh, the young black girl?
Yeah.
I can't remember her name, but she was a very good actress.
Very good actress.
Very good, yeah.
You're going to see quite a lot of her, I should imagine.
Yeah, and I think she came back just at the right time as well. I think they brought her in. It
was a shock when she turned up on the doorstep.
Yeah, I didn't know who it was, especially with the scene with the car arriving, with the car door opened, the boots come out, and I love that. They all build up to who it is.
Yeah, very classy.
And there she was, and I was pleased because she played. I think she played quite a crucial role to getting her to the last episode.
She said she loaned her the money, didn't she,
yeah.
to get her flights.
Yeah.
See, I think she stayed permanently in Russia. I think she defected.
I don't know.
I think she defected.
I don't think she did. Well, we'll soon
Anyone
see.
listening, got any theories, let us know.
Netflix, please do another series so we can prove Dan wrong and that she went back to America and lived her life there.
So you get the chance to see these things because you watch things on trains. I can't do that. I need to be sat at home on my sofa, lights dimmed, all that sort of stuff, whereas you can do it on the busy platform on St Pancras or something.
Well, I prefer to do it sitting on the train rather than standing and watching it. But if I'm engrossed in something, I want to continue watching it. And I can... People will say that it's wrong to not know what's going on around you. Other people want to just be fully aware. But I like just to be able to sit on the train, watch what I need to watch, realise I've then missed my station.
Of course.
Get off the next station and come back again. But yeah, I definitely like to know how many series or episodes within a series or how many series there are. Series. I said it right.
You said it right.
Said it right.
It's not series is.
Series is.
Series is. It's like text. You said on the phone call earlier when you was moaning to someone at Vodafone, you said text us.
No, it's text.
You said text us.
You sent me some text.
Text us, you said, as in multiple.
Well, you know me. You know what I mean.
You just make things up, Claire, don't you?
Why not? People on Towie make words up. I'm going to start making my own words up and making it in language.
Well, you're fluent in it, Claire, practically.
Thank you.
Speaking of languages.
Go on.
I'm thinking about when all this COVID stuff is over, about doing some language classes. What do you think?
You won't be learning a normal, common language.
Normal? Okay.
I reckon you will do something obscure.
Yeah.
So I would probably say Icelandic. Is that a language?
Yes.
Yeah, I reckon something like that.
Uh-huh.
Or Swedish.
You're in the right part of the world.
What are the
she's stumbling now.
What do people in Finland speak?
Claire, you know this.
I don't know.
Tell me, what do you think they speak?
What do I think they think? I don't know what they think. I don't know.
Have a guess. Take a guess.
No idea.
You think about it. If we're from England, they speak English. If they're from Finland, they speak
Finnish. I don't know.
Finnish.
Finnish.
As in finish line, but spelled
Finnish.
differently. Your knowledge, your policing knowledge is wide and vast.
Yep.
Yet some things you just really stumble with.
Okay, let me stop you there. I didn't take geography at school. I took history instead and then dipped out of history because history was too hard. So I missed everything about it. And I am absolutely rubbish when it comes to geography. I have a rough idea of our own country, i.e. the UK.
Or Las Vegas, so you can do your gambling bit.
I know exactly where Las Vegas is, darling. I can tell you. I can go straight to it on a map. As I love Vegas. But anywhere else... I know where France is, it's below us, and I know the boot of Italy's down there, and I know over there near Greenland is Iceland and places like that, and Germany's over there somewhere, and then China's over there further, and then America's over that way there, and Australia and China are just far away from here. I am a little bit disappointed in myself for not knowing
that the Finnish people speak Finnish.
Yeah.
Well, you still haven't guessed it. I'll tell you. Norwegian.
Oh, okay. Have you been there?
That's the only Nordic or Scandinavian country that I haven't been to. I've been to Finland, to Helsinki. Lovely, really clean. I've been to Sweden for an afternoon because I got the train on the bridge from Copenhagen to Malmö, I think they pronounce it.
So was it an overnight stopover thing, was it? Or
20 minutes.
Oh, so you got the train across there just for the afternoon and back
across,
again?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Right, I'm with you. Right.
So
it wasn't a through journey or anything?
No. We was in Copenhagen, and then we realised by looking at the map that we were so close to Sweden. And then somebody said, well, you can just get the train. So we got the train. And then we panicked midway because we thought, oh, we haven't got our passports. But they don't have passports over there for that sort of thing. If you're sort of Scandinavian, they just
wave you in.
It's just,
so you don't even have to show your passport or your ID cards.
No, not at all.
Wow.
No, it's very very Scandinavian.
Wow.
But yeah, we was in Malmö for a couple of hours, and of course, luck would have it there was some sort of protest while we was over there, some street protest.
Of course, there was.
This is like a busman's holiday. And I've been to most of those sort of countries, but Norway, no.
Okay, because you've got a little bit about a thing when you go on holiday, haven't you?
Well, I can't sit on a beach and just...
Well, you can't stand warm weather.
No.
You would rather be cold than hot.
Yeah, I'm always happier. Like even today when we went into our commander's office...
that was...
And it was like a snake house.
That was far too hot.
I don't know how they sit there like that.
That was far too hot. No, I'm talking about when you go on holiday to places that have been in films, you'd like to do something, don't you?
Yep. Well, if I see something on television, I make a note of it, thinking I'd like to go there to see it for myself.
Yep.
Or if I read about something in a book, again, I will make a note and say, well, okay, I'll put that on my list. So when I watched years ago Schindler's List, I thought, well, I wonder if those places still exist. Obviously, because during the war, lots was... whole places were sort of demolished and razed to the ground. But I did a bit of research and found myself in Krakow a couple of years later, and that part where they filmed a lot of Schindler's List is completely intact.
Is it really?
Completely intact. It was like walking onto a film set.
Wow.
Walking around all these sort of little sort of Jewish side streets and stuff like that with
all derelict, how they've just been left, or people still living there.
I don't think anyone was living there.
Okay.
I think people move into the commercial sort of areas.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, it was like walking onto a film set.
Wow. But talking about films is you sometimes reenact films, don't you?
Like what?
Like The Sound of Music on the steps.
Oh yeah, I've reenacted that. Yeah, with my best friend.
Which is quite a good thing to do, isn't it?
In Salzburg. Yeah.
I'm sure not the only one. I'm sure someone listening has also done the same thing.
We really reenacted it. We did everything. The curtains for clothes, running around the pond. And
brilliant.
We did all that. Good fun.
Yeah.
Have we waffled enough, Claire?
I think we have about you.
What does the waffle meter say? Are we running out of time or?
12 minutes-ish.
12 minutes-ish. Okay. Like I said, this is going to be just a hello and get used to us and what I've got to say. Future episodes won't be like that. We'll actually have some interesting guests on.
Yeah.
You're looking after that list for guests, aren't you?
I am sorting out the guest list, yes. I am. Hoping that I have some interesting guests for you based on your suggestions. If not, I will have a look what's happening in the areas and just see if we can find somebody that might want to talk about something or specialises in a certain area that we can have them on to give crime prevention or advice about things.
You've got one in the pipeline, haven't you?
Yes. Our next one our first one will be with Liz Chappell and some other police officers and inspector. And then also the second part of it is going to be on catalytic converters. That is a big...
Did you say Catholic?
Catholic.
I thought you said Catholic.
Catalytic converters that people are stealing, and it's very rife at the moment with those crimes.
Mm-hmm.
So we have an operation currently happening. So I'm going to get the officers to come in and to discuss the operation, what we as a South West BCU are doing about trying to catch these offenders and how to prevent these sort of things happening to your cars, which will be incredibly useful to people.
Well, I better turn up for that because I don't have a clue what a catalytic converter is.
Exactly. But
something to do with an exhaust, I'm guessing.
It is something to do with an
Is
exhaust.
it really?
Yeah. Yes, well done.
Is it really?
It is well done. Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. So I think we should use the list in future. I think what we should do is through the
Are you talking about a guest list or are you talking about the list?
I think we should have the official the list.
The list.
So you can write things down on your list.
Mm-hmm.
I can write a few things down on my list.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we'll do is we'll go through the episode and cross stuff off our list as we talk about it.
So we chew the cud on these.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Bit of structure.
And if we don't talk about things, then we can maybe take it on to the next one if it's relevant, or we can just decide not to talk about it at all. But I think, let's have the list.
Okay.
Yes. I think we've covered everything we need to. We've spoken a little bit about ourselves. We've explained what will be happening in the future for future podcasts and how to get in contact with us.
Well, Claire, I've enjoyed myself.
So have I. It has been very nice talking to you, Dan. Very nice. And hopefully people have enjoyed listening to a little bit about us.
Okay, so it's Claire and CJ signing out.
Claire and CJ?
Claire and CJ, did I say that?
You did say Claire and CJ. So let's just clarify this now, shall we? This is a very good point to clarify this.
Good point, actually, yeah.
Okay, so what Dan meant to say was CJ and Dan signing out was what was supposed to happen. But he said Claire and CJ. Now, my actual name is Claire, but nobody apart from Dan calls me Claire. Everyone calls me CJ. And that's what I'm known as, but you still can't really call me CJ. You still call me Claire, which I still answer to because it's you.
Yeah.
But no, this is the Plodcast on the South West BCU by Dan and CJ.
Until next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.